What is up, peeps? Firstly, thanks everyone for testing the beta version. For everyone that's been testing, thank you very much. That's been really, really helpful. We've been finding a lot of little things and nuances that's been happening, and this particular version of the beta addresses all of those, right? So we're going to get this, we're going to walk through this beta version, and then of course you're going to install it, and we're going to go through tests, and hopefully it'll pass our test. If not, we'll, continue to critique, because the more we critique it and find the obvious, the better it's going to be when we go live with a full version of fully automated trading. So this particular version addresses the lightning bolt Fibonacci retracements. That's going to paint out the entries, and also it's going to address the auto take partials and how it manages your manual entries. All right, so let's kick it off. Latest version is going to be the beta 4.10.4. So this one you'll receive. I'll drop this in the group. You'll receive it. You'll install it. You don't have to delete all the other versions as long as you know you're loading the most recent beta version. So it'll be beta 4.10.4. You can tell by when you double click it and add it to your chart, it'll load up here, beta 4.10.4, right? 4.10.4. So there you have it. I'm going to go into some settings. So let's go through this. So the new settings, which you all are all familiar with, and I think you all are really enjoying, is the Fibonacci settings, where it's drawing lightning bolt fibs with proper entries. It's giving you the proper entry levels. So all you really need to do is just enable fibs. By default, it's set to true. And then we have our high-low golden zone values that's used for the calculation. And that's pretty much really all you need. Everything else is pretty much set. And then you have the RSI divergence. This is great when it's in a higher time frame, say 15 and up. You can really catch some good confluences also on the 5 when you're seeing rejection on zones, etc. I think I'm going to just go through a whole new refresher, create a brand new refresher video from soup to nuts, so that we can get just a good grasp and a refresher for everyone on how to trade the lightning bolt strategy. So now other sections that you're going to be interested in is the lightning bolt automation settings. And here what we have are entry settings, where you can manage manual entries. So basically what happens is, if you were to make a trade manually without the automation, but just manually entering a trade, it will automatically set up simple moving average targets or moving average targets. You can set your moving average type to be an SMA or EMA, and you can set the moving average targets here, which is going to be super important for you. And then what you're going to also want to do is you're going to want to let's see here minimum targets and pips. We're going to talk about that. I'll go through that as well. But just in a summary version, say you're entering here for a sell, and price, if you were to paint this out, this simple moving average is right below price on a sell, and it would paint that target out, but that's too close. The minute you get into this position, it's going to actually just, break that target, and it's going to take a partial at that level. So you can set the minimum value in which you want, or the minimum distance between your open price and the simple moving average. And say we set it for 8 pips. If that distance were less than 8 pips away from current price and this simple moving average, it would not draw that simple moving average. What you need to do is, once again, you need to understand what pips are in your system with your broker. So for this particular account, this is a FTMO account. For this particular account, a pip is actually, a point is 0.01, right? So we know that there are 10 points to a pip. So that would mean that 0.10 is a pip. So when you're looking at these high values here, 0.10 is a very small movement for US 30, and that would be equivalent to a pip. So, I want to bump it up to probably in the hundreds of pips, because it's really, small denomination, small changes in price that you need to configure so that it will filter the simple moving averages out, or the minimum targets, the distance between open price and the first target. You want to make sure that you don't have them too close, and you can set that value here. We'll walk through that as well. And then also we have where you can enable fib targets. And if you don't enable fib targets here, I'll show you how you can add fib targets to the chart at any time. And I will show you that as well. And of course, let's see here, enabling band targets. So this is where it will give you targets at the upper and lower band as well that will then perform an action, which would be, right now, it would be close all. You have different actions that you can apply to your lightning bolt strategy, where if you get a lightning bolt, so you're in a buy and you get a lightning bolt up top, that opposite lightning bolt can trigger an action. What I have it is, I have it set to close all. So if I'm in buys and I'm getting a reversal lightning bolt, I just want to close it all. You can set it to take partial, so take partial and protect, or just protect as well. It'll do it all. So this is what we're going to be testing. This is new functionality that you guys haven't seen in the previous beta version. So this is super new, and I want to show you that as well. So let's just get started. I'm going to add this to the chart. And then we'll talk about stop loss protection also. So stop loss protection, what you could do is you can set loss reduction to true. And what that would mean is if you got into a buy and there was a lightning bolt here, if you, as price moves 50% halfway to the swing low, it's going to reduce your position because it's going in the negative. Right, so if you bought up here, say for whatever reason you bought above this red 20 SMA, and price started to move against you, and it's 50% away from the lightning bolt here, then it's going to take a partial for you. It's going to actually take a partial in losses, reducing risk. It's taking risk off the table. We'll go through that as well. So here we go. I'm going to click OK, and we're going to add the lightning bolt strategy here to this chart, and I'll do the same on this one, just so that we can get two separate charts loaded up so I can show you exactly how this works. So this will be the same thing. And right now there are no zones added, and I'm okay with that because I want to use this as, you know, for demonstration purposes right now. So let's just get our charts looking good. So of course, you know that you can go and you can change your zone settings to the, right now this is set for 30-minute zones on a 5-minute chart starting 300 bars back. So since I'm on the 15, I could easily just click on the 30-minute chart. It'll draw out the zones, right? These are 30-minute zones. I can stretch this back a little bit further if I wanted to. I can say, you know what, let's just go back to 1,000 bars, so we can get more zones. The further back you go, the more zones you get, right? If you were doing your top-down analysis, this is how you would draw your zones. And now I can back it back down to the 15. You all know this, you all are familiar with this, and then you'll get your lightning bolt settings here. If you notice, one of the first things you see are, look at this fib retracement here. I'm gonna hide these zones for a second so that you can see what I'm talking about, right? So all of you should have seen this, and you all should be using this right now. And this is the fib zones. Let me just bounce this out, repaint it so it's set to none. So the zones are still there, but it's set to none. And then we'll bounce back to the 15. And you'll see here, we've got a fib sell line. So basically this is a fib retracement where we have a swing high or swing low. It retraced back up to the golden zone, which is the zone that you configured in your settings, right? And those settings are prices got to land in this particular zone. Although this is a wide zone, don't worry about that. Once this is the overall zone, and then the way the logic works is that it breaks it down and it gives you the proper entries based on where the swing high or swing low was on the retracement. Right? So you've got that, and now it tells you exactly, hey, this is the fib sell line, so you would then get in probably right around here. This is a red bar. It closed right here underneath, and this would be a good entry. You'd probably be rejecting a zone at this level also, and you have a lightning bolt, so this would be a good entry for a sell. So that we're familiar with, and also you're familiar with the RSI divergence signals. So you get these blue lines, and those blue lines it's all configurable. That means sell or a RSI bearish divergence, and this is RSI bullish divergence. So yep, so there you have it. So now let's get to the fun part. how to manage your automated, your manual trades. Actually, before we get there, what you'll notice is that we have 3 buttons now. We have your take partial, your protect, your manage manual. You can change these buttons here by setting the width and the height and the font size to your liking. Okay, you can do that. And also they come with hotkeys. So if you wanted to, you can press Shift or capital T for take partial, or capital P for protect your position. Rather than clicking it, you can just use your keyboard and execute those functions. You also have the manage manual button as well. We're going to get into that in a second, but I want to go over this layout. Also, what you have here is this button layout, which is Shift U, capital U. All right. And what that will do is that will allow you to change the buttons or change the positions of the buttons. So I'll go into a layout mode. And once you go into layout mode, your buttons will turn red. And now all I have to do is I could just click and I could drag these buttons here. All right. And once you drag these buttons the way you like it, it will automatically reflect on all other charts. If you look at the chart on the right, once I drop this, it automatically sets it to that value, and then you can press Shift U, and now those buttons are clickable, and now you can use them the way you want, right? So this is how you would manage your button layout, by clicking Shift U. There are other buttons in the chart that I'll show you how to actually activate them, and that's with drawing out fib levels. But for right now, we'll just go through this process, and yeah, we'll keep it moving. All right, so if you wanted to manage trades, right, your own trades, what you could do is, and what I'm going to do is also, I'm going to change this here, these triangles, these triangles, I'm going to change this to none as well. They're there, but I'm going to just change them to none because I just want to see what I want to see right now, right? So there we go, it's set to none. And now, if you wanted to create a entry, say you're looking at the 15 and you're looking at the 5-minute chart, but the setup on the 15 is looking great. So what you want to do is you want to enter a trade, but you want it to manage your trades for you with the stop losses and the take partials and such. Well, if you were to click this manage manual button, it's going to change the borderline to green. This is all changeable. You can change this here, I believe, right here, entries. You can, your manage chart color, you can change the color to whatever it is you want, right? But what this means is that if you make an entry, it doesn't matter if you click this button or that button, but if you make an entry, this is the chart that's going to manage that manual entry. Okay, you can have multiple charts manage that entry, and what that would mean is that once I click this button, it's going to automatically draw targets on the 15-minute chart and on the 5-minute chart. You may not want that all the time, right? So you want to be able to just, you can or detach manual entry, managing manual entry from a chart by just clicking that button, and you'll see that your border goes away. And this would be the only chart that's managing that entry. So if I were to click on buy at this point, right, I'll just say 5-0, whatever, right? If I clicked on buy, the first thing it should do is it's going to automatically create targets, automatically. So I created a target here. If you notice, if I mouse over this is a simple moving average 200. And then this one up here is a upper band, because we have upper bands enabled in our settings to create upper band targets. And it will give you the upper band targets right there automatically. If I were to close this position, I have another window open, but if I close this position, it will automatically move those targets, right? So it's simple and easy. Very choppy, but it looks real ugly. But let's see here, if I wanted to sell, say I were in a position and I wanted to sell at this point for whatever reason, I click sell, and it will automatically draw your take partials automatically at these levels. So this one here is a simple moving average 100 take partial line. You also have your 50, and you also have your 20. Now, simple moving averages adjust, right? So that's why as price is moving, you'll see these lines adjust also. They'll be moving up and down. You'll see them kind of like, shift a little bit here and there because the target is moving with the simple moving average. It's not just set here. It's moving with the simple moving average. Why? Because we know, 10 bars down the road, we know these simple moving averages are going to be an area where price is going to have a reaction. So we don't want to just leave it here at this point forever. We want the target to move with a simple moving average, almost like a trailing stop, but it's with simple moving averages, right? If I wanted to, I could click close this position, and it would then automatically remove those entries for me, right? So now what if I said manual here? I want to manage manual here and manage manual here. So both are green. So since I want to manage manual, it doesn't matter if I click sell anywhere, right? It's going to create targets for both charts. So you have your 15-minute targets and you have your 5-minute targets. If you wanted to, you could always just double click and remove a target and you're good. You're good to go. Simple and easy. So the purpose of this is that sometimes you may be in a sell on one chart on a smaller time frame while you're swinging on a 30, and you just don't want them to interfere. You don't want to create targets for, you know, every position all the time. And on every chart, you want to be able to choose what time frame you want to actually trade that position. Right? So I hope that works. I'm going to close this out, and this will then get rid of all the targets. Now, what happens also is you can set FIB targets, right? So if I wanted to, I can go in and I can set FIB targets, right? So this option is cool. I like this option, but I'm going to show you another feature here. So if I click buy, actually, let me get rid of my simple moving average targets, right? I'm going to say, let's see here. I'm going to disable moving average targets, and I'm going to keep the FIB targets enabled. And I'm going to disable band targets, right? So say you were just working with FIBs, and you wanted FIBs as your targets, right? So if I were to click sell, or actually if I were to click buy, what should happen, actually, because it's not a swing low, bear with me here. Bear with me. Let's just see here. Okay, so once I clicked sell, what it did was it did a swing low to swing high and then calculated the retracements, right? So this is the retracement and then the continuation. So it automatically drew those targets out. If you did, actually, I take that back. I take that back. That is not correct because these are simple moving average targets here. Let's just go here again. Let me just take a look here. Let's see what's going on in my settings. Moving average, simple FIB targets. Yep. This looks right. And let's just go here. Let's do the same here. And I'm going to disable these targets, these simple moving average targets here, right? And I'm going to enable FIB targets here. Click OK. Cool. I'm going to remove this position. I'm going to manage, remove this position. And I'm going to then sell. So once I sold, the minute what it did was it automatically created targets for you at these FIB levels. So you can see here, this is a FIB 100%. This is a 1.27, if I could see it, 1.382, and this is automatically giving you these FIB targets from this swing high. Actually, it's actually from here to here, to the previous swing high, right, to the previous lightning bolt. So it's going from the swing low to the swing high, and it's drawing out these targets for you all automatically. So if you notice, these line up with the FIB all automatically. Sometimes the swing low to swing high is not what you want. So I'm going to show you a trick on how you can manage your own targets, right? So what you could do is, I'm going to disable those FIB targets. Right, so I'm going to say disable FIB targets, right, and I'm going to say here on this chart also, disable FIB targets, right, both charts, I'm going to disable the FIB targets. Let's see here, FIB targets, enable FIB targets, I'm going to set that to false. So now we really have no target set, right? Actually, I think we have simple moving average target set here, right? I think we have, let's see here, yeah, no, that's all set. So we're all good. So we're all good to go. And say you were in a buy, right? And let's use this chart because it's just easier. It's just not as choppy. I mean, it really doesn't matter. We'll do either one. So say you were in a buy, right? You clicked on your buy. You've got no targets. No targets are drawing out, right? Because you are not, for one, you're not managing anything, right? You're not managing that position. The minute you click manage, it will then manage that position, right? So let me show you this here. So for this one, on the chart on the right, I'm going to enable those simple moving average targets because I want to show you this this is super important. I'm going to enable those moving average targets, right? And if you notice, it doesn't draw out those targets. Because why? This chart is not managing those positions. It's not managing that position, that buy that's running. So if you click manage, now it will automatically draw out those targets. And it's making a liar out of me. Well, because the targets are below us. That's why. So the targets are below us. If I went into a sell, I'll just do a quick sell. You'll see it. Then it will draw out those targets for us. Boom. There you go. It draws out those targets. I'll close that sell out, because I want to use the buy as an example, right? So this buy is still here, but nothing's managing it because we have all of our settings off here. We don't have any moving average target set. We don't have any fib target sets, and we don't have any brand target set. But say you wanted to use, say, your a fib, your own fib targets. You could do your swing high to swing low, right? Nicely. And if you notice, it'll set the lines to be 100%. Then you have your 1.27. You have to go in and you have to configure your own settings here, right? You can go in and you can go into your own Fibo control and you can set your own Fibo levels, your fib levels here. This is where you would set all your fib levels. These are the levels that will automatically create targets for you. So now, if you noticed, when I double click this, I'm going to close this. I want you to see this menu here, system. If I double click this and it's selectable, right? It's selectable, meaning I can move things around. You will then get the fib target buttons. And these buttons can also be edited. So I will go into Shift U and I'm going to move the fib targets up like this because one button was on top of the other, right? I'll do this. Boom. Right, I'll come out of this, Shift U, and now this will be saved. These are global settings. So now, if I wanted to, because this is, and once again, I'll show you this again. This is your regular take partials in your manual. The minute I go into edit mode on this chart, it's going to give you the ability to add a fib target. So these are my targets here. These are my lines, and I'm going to just show you this here. The minute I then click add fib TPs, it will automatically create those fib TPs for you. Automatically. And you can just delete them if you want, and so forth. Hold on one second. So it'll automatically create those targets for you automatically. You'll see that this is a fib at 1.27. This is the 100, 1.27. I'll mouse over and show you. Yeah, that's the fib 127, the fib 382. And then at this point, what you could do is you could delete the other, the fib that you use to actually use as a template for your targets. So it's simple and easy. You can click close, and now you're back to just running, and then you can create your partials and protect and so forth and so on. You can just run this the way you normally would. If you don't like something, you can always right-click it. You could delete it, or you can right-click it and move it, and that will then be the set price. That will then be the updated price for that particular target. So, there you have it. Let's just do this. Boom. Yep, there you have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these objects because I want to show you this again. I'll go to Control B. And if you go to Control B, that'll bring up your object list. And then I'm just going to go here and I'm going to just delete all of these fib targets here. These are the fib targets. I can click this, click delete, close. They're gone. Once again, if I wanted to chart this out, I can always pull up my fib tool, my fib retracement, not extension, fib retracement. And I would go from swing high to low, right? And we know it's here. I'm going to move these, right? We know it's right here. I'll move these out the way just so I can, I can show you, right? And once I do that and I click that button, it's going to automatically change these buttons here. So you could, the minute you click it and get it into edit mode where you have the two dots on each, the high and the low, and you can move and adjust, that's when these buttons will be available. You just got to click it. So once again, I just click it, right? I close it and I just click it, but I'll double click it right for a second because now I'm not in edit mode. If you notice, I'm not in edit mode. I'll close this out. If I click it here, I'm not in edit mode. It's not moving. I can't move it. I can't adjust it. So I have to double click it. And when I double click it and it's in edit mode where I can move things around, that's when I can now add my fib targets, my fib TPs. Boom. And it automatically added them, right? Automatically. So when you do a take a TP, it's going to be everything that's ahead of price. So since we're in a buy, it's going to be everything, all of the fib lines that are above price, right? If we were in a sell, and I'll show you that right now, I'll close this out. I'll delete this object, right? And I will also delete my fib target lines, right? So if I'm going to close this position, say we're in a sell, we click on sell, boom, here we're getting those SMA targets. You'll see that the targets are moving because this is configured for SMAs and it's configured to manage these positions at these SMA levels. But if I wanted to, I can always go and I can draw from a swing low to swing high, say from here to here, swing low to swing high, right? And now I can, let's see here, I can double click it and I can click on my targets, and now you'll notice targets are below price because I'm in a sell, right? Targets are always, they're not, in the profit section, right? So I'm going to delete these and I can clean up what I want and delete what I want and move things around, and that's it. So that's how you would use your fib, your custom fib level. So you don't have to use mine. You can always keep this one off. You can always keep your fib levels off here. Enable fib target set to false, and you can then draw them manually the way I showed you. I think that's great. I think it's going to allow you to have a little bit more accuracy, and you can set the values that you want. So really, if your values aren't showing up, you have to really just go into your fibs, right? And you have to just be sure that you can right click it, go to Fibo properties, and then set your fib levels, set the fib levels that you want to have charted. And that is it. Let's see here. I'm going to close this out. This should now, the way I have the code set, is that this should now keep the charts separate. So many of you were getting into trades and it was auto closing quickly. I think it's for two parts, because part of my auto trader is I'm never trading against the lightning bulge, right? So look at this. Look at this, for example. This is a sell, but this is a buy, right? So if you went into a buy, this sell would still trigger because it's saying, hey, this sell is valid because of, it's below my fib zones. And I'll get into that when I start to open up the automated trader, but you can define, how far of a retracement do you actually want to make entry. So you're not making an entry all the way down here and you got your stop loss back here. But at this level, this would be valid entry for a sell. So part of my configuration that I showed you is that my configuration is set for, close all positions, right? So when that opposite LB triggers, say here, it's going to close all the positions that I had as buys on this chart. It only happens with manual. It doesn't happen with the automated. Manual is a special case. I actually had to remove automation because the auto entries, because I want to give you guys the manual entries first, or the automated exits first, and then we can back into the buys, the entries. But let's start with this, and this is pretty much it. So guys, please beat it up. I greatly appreciate everything that you guys are doing in the community. I think you guys are getting a lot of value. I'm getting a lot of good information, and I'm seeing a lot of great results also. And I will be dropping another video that's going to just talk about the overall strategy once again with the zones. The zones are nothing to play with. I mean, they are serious. They're accurate. So those squawk zones, along with the lightning bolt rejections and simple moving averages, and now we should really be able to hone in on and become a little bit more successful. So there you have it, and I will be dropping this version out there in a matter of minutes. So happy trading, and I will catch you guys in the morning. Lightning Bolt Beta 4.10.4. Let's go.